This Major Tom to ground control. I've left forevermore. And I'm floating.
I will never do anything that cool in my life. Chris Hadfield went viral as an astronaut singing David Bowie's Space Odyssey in orbit. He brought us all closer to the experience of space by making it exciting and relevant to the average person. And now he's using that experience to bring us a Cold War thriller packed with cosmic action. Joining us this morning to tell us about his latest fiction novel, The Apollo Murders, is retired astronaut Colonel Chris Hadfield. Mr. Hadfield, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, nice applause. Hey, good morning, Sid. Nice to see you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I want your take on so many things. Time is never our friend here. Forgive me. But to the book, I mean, it's fiction, but I find it, Chris, you know so much cool nonfiction. You are laced with such cool nonfiction knowledge. Why dive into this from a literary aspect?
Well, it was just so much fun to write fiction because I've written 3 other books, but those you've got to stick to the facts, and it's hard to just get into the visceral nature, what it's like to be an astronaut, to fly in space, to throw up, to go to the bathroom, to look out the window, and how do different people react to that wild set of circumstances, and then just the story itself, the amazing stuff that was going on in the spring of '73 with the Soviet spy space station and their rover driving around on the moon, and both of them malfunctioned, and Nixon's presidency was coming apart. And so I wove this tight fictional story through all of that with cosmonauts and astronauts, and the whole thing comes rollicking back together just north of Hawaii in the splashdown at the end. And I've just been delighted with the worldwide reaction to the book, and it was just such a great project to be part of.
Got a great review. I was just told in the London Sunday Times this past weekend. That's pretty good. And for those who need the refresher, Apollo 18 never got off the ground in reality. It was one of the missions that was scheduled but never happened. But back in 1973, that's a setting for all this. As you mentioned, Nixon, so many interesting things going on at the time. Why this specific mission, Chris? Why'd you pick this one?
Well, you know what? It was actually a publisher came to me with the title, The Apollo Murders. And I thought, okay, Apollo, it's got to be, between 67 and 73, and murders is plural. So I'm like, how am I going to kill 2 people? And so I couldn't make it a real Apollo mission. I needed to take Apollo 18, where they actually built the rocket and built the capsule. It's just Nixon canceled it. So those rockets are in museums now. So I had that mission launch. They got extra money from the Air Force, so that gave a more military purpose to the mission, sort of like they did with the space shuttle. And so it's really tightly linked with reality. Over half the characters in the Apollo Murders are real people. And so I think when you read it, I even put a section in the back, my author's notes, so you can see how much of this book is real. And that made it even more fun to write, trying to twist all those threads together and keep the story really taut.
So one more on this, and then we'll move on, Chris. Is this a series now? Is this the last of the Apollo Murders? What are you thinking?
Well, I really like the main characters in the book, and the story's not finished. So yeah, I think it'd be fun to write another one in the series. We'll see how it goes. I was pretty nervous this week. It was a launch. I'm a brand new fiction author, but the reactions, as you say, from the New York Times and the London Times and the Canadian papers have been great. So yeah, it gives me confidence. But yeah, I think I'm in the early stages of writing the next in the series. And what a fun thing to be able to tell space flight this way in sort of a grand adventure of things that just might have happened.
What was more nervous, launching into space or launching a book?
Well, launching into space,
I would assume,
because the consequences can be pretty bad.
A little different.
But yeah, it's still, reputation is out there, so I'm really pleased to see how well it's doing.
Chris, finally, space as we know it today, and you have Jeff Bezos, and you have some billionaires around the world who are, I don't know if profiteering is the word, but commercializing space is something new to us. Watching William Shatner go up into space last week, Chris, I mean, are you okay with this?
Well, profit from space, that's nothing new. All of the spaceships were built by private companies. I mean, the spaceship shuttle that I flew was built by Rockwell, and space stations managed by Boeing. So it's always been private companies. I think the two big changes here, Sid, one is the cost has come way, way down, and it's open space to people that otherwise never could have flown, like Bill Shatner. And if you really want to think about it, listen to the little speech that Bill gave just right off the cuff, right from his heart, right after he landed from that little short space flight last week. He was overawed by it. And he now sees the world in a whole new way. And he's going to be in Toronto next week. I'm hoping to sit down with him and maybe have a whiskey and compare our spaceflight experiences. Because I talked to him from my space station, a few years ago, and now he's had that little taste of the experience. And just to see the change in him, his understanding of the fragility of our world, just from that short exposure, to me, I think that's the real benefit of improving our access to space.
He is Chris Hadfield, joining us, by the way, from Vegas, where it is super early today, but he's been kind enough to join us. The Apollo Murders is out now. The reviews have been great. Chris, it's always a pleasure. Don't be a stranger. Let's do this again. Have a great day, sir.
You also. Thanks. Nice to talk with you.
Take care. The one and only Chris Hadfield. Space is cool, man. I don't know how else to say it. All right, we're going to take a break. You sound off coming up. Have you walked into a store in this country, even this past weekend, and you saw Christmas displays up? Are you thinking, I better get on this now because there might be a rush? Especially this holiday season, let us know. 1-866-267-3797. Feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca, at Breakfast TV on Twitter 24/7. Bachelor in Paradise Canada aired last night. We'll unpack episode 2 next. You're watching BT.